That is right, everyone. The AFL season is officially here, and today we're going to be going through my tips and predictions for the opening round of the 2025 AFL season. Now, if you guys do go on to enjoy this video, could you please show me that by liking the video, as well as subscribing to the channel if you guys are new, because there's a lot of content coming this AFL season that you don't want to miss. Enough wasting your guys' time, let's get straight into the video. Now, before I do get into the tips, I just want to quickly let you all know that I do have an official tipping comp for the 2025 season on the ESPN app. We've currently got a total of 39 members in the competition and we're pushing for 50. Now, if you do happen to finish third place in the competition, you will receive a total of $15. Then in second place, you receive $30, and the grand prize, first place, receives a total of $100. So if you want a chance to win a quick, easy $100, just join the tipping comp, link in the description below, and he's going to put in a few details and you'll be right in there. Enough wasting you guys' time, let's get straight into the tips for the opening round. Now, on the Thursday at 7:50 p.m, we have the Geelong Cats taking on the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. I unfortunately will not be able to watch this game. That's right, I'm missing the first game of the season because I'm going on school camp. But nonetheless, it should be a good game. Brisbane are obviously favourites going into this one, being the reigning premiers and all. They're hoping to keep that back-to-back dream alive. This is also the game where the flag will be unveiled. You'd argue these two teams have got a little bit of a mini rivalry going on at the moment, after obviously the Brisbane Lions did beat the Cats in a very, very close game in last year's prelim final week, which closed the door on the Cats' premiership dream. Both sides are very, very likely to have big seasons in 2025. Although, to be fair, neither teams actually showed much during this preseason games. The Geelong Cats were defeated by a 21-point margin against the Essendon Bombers at the Cattery, while the Lions lost in a 3-point thriller against the Adelaide Crows, which was actually their home game at the Gabba. The Cats finally did pick up their man in Bailey Smith from the Western Bulldogs, who was a star midfielder for the Doggies. But I don't know if we should be expecting too much from him from his first game back after not playing a single game of AFL in over a year. Will Ashcroft is likely to star in this game after a very good performance in the most recent grand final, which resulted in him taking home the Norm Smith medal. The weather conditions are rumoured to be quite horrific, considering there is a high chance of a cyclone taking place while this game is happening. So based on what I have seen, the Lions on paper are definitely on track to win this clash, despite how good both these teams are and how similar they are skill-wise. Although, when taking into consideration that over the last two seasons, the reigning premiers have struggled to win that first game of the season. But I am still going to back in the Brisbane Lions for this game. They're looking to be a very, very good side in 2025, and I'm going to back them in to win the game by a margin of 7 points. Now, moving on to the Friday at 7:40 p.m, we've got the Swans taking on the Hawks at the SCG. This should be one of the more interesting games of the round. The Swans were probably the best team of 2024, despite them not winning the grand final, but they did finish on top of the ladder. The Hawks, on the other hand, had one heck of a ride in last year's season. They obviously had one of the worst starts to the season that any team could ever have, but then finished in 7th on the ladder, progressing all the way onto a semi-final. All thanks to Hockball, of course. The Hawks unfortunately did lose last week against the Western Bulldogs in Tassie, but obviously that was a practice game and they usually mean very little. While the Swans put off a 20-point win against the Gold Coast Suns at People's First Stadium. And I guess we may as well address the elephant in the room. It almost breaks my heart to say this, and I'm a Collingwood fan, so we've grown to hate this man as of late. Errol Gordon did his ankle last Friday and has been sent in for surgery. At the time of filming this, it is still yet to be confirmed how long he will be out, but I think it's safe to say he will not be taking part in this game this Friday night. They are now without Luke Parker after he chose to pursue his career over in Victoria playing for the North Melbourne Kangaroos. While the Hawks had a pretty busy trade period, picking up both Tom Barrass and Josh Battle, this now gives the Hawks one of the strongest backlines in the competition. Obviously with the likes of Carl Amon, Jarman Impey, James Sicily, Josh Weddle, and now the new recruits as well. The Swans do have heaps of other big outs going into this game, which might make it quite hard for them to find themselves getting the job done, which is why I'm going to back in the Hawks to win this one by a 19-point margin. The Saturday Arvo game, bit of a weird time slot, 5:15 p.m. We've got the Suns taking on the Dons at People's First Stadium. Essendon fans are still experiencing slight trauma after the last time these two teams faced off. Now, of course, I am referring to the Mac Andrew goal after the siren to win the game, which then locked in Gold Coast Suns' first away victory of the year. Although the Suns did nearly win every single game at People's First Stadium last year, which I'm sure is giving the limited Suns supporters a lot of hope going into this game. I mean, it really shows considering the Suns are favourites going into this. The Dons finished the AFL season in 11th place, while the Suns finished in 13th. I'm not too keen on the Bombers this season, but I will say this, last week they looked really, really good. They obviously got a 21-point win against the Geelong Cats, and Isaac Kako, who is still yet to play an official AFL game, scored 4 goals last week, so you'd assume he makes his debut this Saturday. And despite the Suns having the home ground advantage last week, they still lost to the Sydney Swans by a 21-point margin, even with new recruits John Noble and Daniel Rioli. But in all fairness, they did have a few players who injured themselves throughout last week who are also likely out for this week. One big one being Mac Andrew. He got injured in the first 10 seconds of the game. Charlie Ballard, who did his ankle, and Lachlan Weller, who claims to have hamstring tightness. With this information, my mind is moving slightly closer to the Essendon Bombers, and I'm going to back them in to win the game by 27 points. And to conclude the opening round of 2025, on the Sunday, we've got the Collingwood Magpies taking on the GWS Giants at NG Stadium at 3:20 p.m. We saw this exact game in last year's opening round, where the Pies were able to get the job done to prove to everyone that their back-to-back dream is alive. But the Giants dominated all night and won the game by 32 points. Tom Green, who you'd probably say is the Giants' best midfielder, he is unfortunately going to miss this week, and possibly even the next month it looks like, but it is still yet to be confirmed when he does return. You'd nearly say the Pies are in quite a bad position as well though. They have both Tom Mitchell and Jordan De Goey out with injuries, and possibly Braden Maynard, but that hasn't publicly been announced yet. And Dan Houston's out, he's still got that 1-game suspension and he won't return until round 1 against his ex-side, Port Adelaide. Although besides Houston, none of those people even played in last week's practice game against Richmond, where they did still get the job done by 83 points. And yes, I understand it was only against Richmond, but as a biased Collingwood supporter, that game alone proves to me that we're going to be on for a big year in 2025, especially with Nick Dacos pretty much guaranteed to receive 3 votes in the opening round. The Giants obviously didn't have much success during the Amy preseason games after losing by 58 points in a home game against the Blues, but both teams' forward lines are looking very good. The Giants have previous Coleman winner Jesse Hogan, and he'll be playing alongside new recruit Jake Stringer, who kicked a total of 42 goals for the Essendon Bombers last year. Although despite Toby Green usually being a good kick, last week he kicked 0 goals as well as 4 behinds, so definitely needs to work on his goal kicking a little bit more this week. But the Pies have some superhuman forward line that Craig McRae's been hyping up all pre-season, with them having Bobby Hill, Jamie Elliott, Lockie Schultz, Dan McStay, Brody Mychek, and new recruit Tim Membry, who kicked 4 goals against Richmond. And I'm willing to back my boys in this week, and we're going to get the job done. And it is Collingwood, so it's obviously going to be a thriller. It's going to come down to the final wire. It's going to be under a goal. We're going to back in the Collingwood Magpies to win the game by a 3-point margin. And that does wrap up today's video, everyone. And if you guys did enjoy, again, could you please show me that by liking the video, as well as subscribing to the channel if you guys are new. And I hope to see you all in the next video that I post here on the channel.